The Valdrine Empire had endured for 8,000 cycles. Their crystalline spires pierced the heavens of 100 worlds, their fleets darkened the stars, and their quantum-locked vaults held the accumulated wealth of civilizations they had conquered and erased. They were eternal. They were inevitable. They were gods among the lesser species of the galaxy. Commander Jairak stood in the observation chamber of the Imperial Throne World, his 6 eyes scanning the tactical displays with the confidence of someone who had never known defeat. The human's final planet hung before him like a blue-green jewel, soon to be added to the Empire's collection. "Their defenses are pathetic," Jairak, second in command, hissed through translated speech. 3 orbital platforms, 47 ships. They don't even have quantum shielding. Jairak's mandibles clicked in amusement. This species discovered faster than light travel only 2 centuries ago. They are children playing with fire. We shall extinguish them before the sun sets on the Imperial capital. The humans had been a curiosity at first. When the Valdrine scouts had encountered them 70 years prior, the Empire's xenobiologists had catalogued them with clinical detachment. Bipedal mammals, short-lived, technologically primitive, prone to tribal warfare. They occupied exactly 1 star system. They posed no threat. The invasion fleet that approached Earth that afternoon numbered 10,000 vessels. It was overkill, certainly, but the Empire had learned long ago that overwhelming force prevented costly insurgencies. Better to break a species completely than to leave embers that might one day reignite. At precisely 1400 hours Earth Standard Time, the Valdrine fleet emerged from hyperspace at the edge of the Sol system. At 1401 hours, every single ship lost primary power. Jairak's eyes widened as his flagship went dark. Emergency lighting flickered on, bathing the bridge in crimson. "Report," he roared. "Unknown, Commander. All quantum cores are offline. Communication arrays are dead. Weapons, shields, propulsion. Everything tied to our power grid is non-functional. Impossible. Our systems are hardened against every known form of electromagnetic attack." "It's not electromagnetic, sir. It's something else. Something in our computing architecture itself." On Earth, in a nondescript building in Geneva, Dr. Sarah Chen leaned back in her chair and allowed herself a small smile. Around her, 24 of humanity's best computer scientists and quantum physicists watched their screens in stunned silence. "Stage 1 complete," Sarah said quietly. "The virus has propagated through their entire fleet. 70 years. That's how long humanity had been preparing for this moment." When the Valdrine scouts had visited Earth, they had been arrogant. They had allowed human diplomats aboard their vessels. They had demonstrated their technology with the casual superiority of a species that had never known equals. They had no idea that humanity's greatest weapon wasn't firepower or shielding or faster ships. It was curiosity. While the Valdrine had catalogued humanity as primitive, human engineers had been reverse engineering every scrap of Valdrine technology they could scan. They had discovered something remarkable. The entire Valdrine Empire ran on a single unified computing architecture. Every ship, every station, every planetary defense grid used the same quantum operating system, virtually unchanged for millennia. Why would they change it? It had never been breached. It was perfection itself. Humanity had spent 7 decades finding the cracks in that perfection. At 14:15 hours, Jairak watched in horror as his fleet began tearing itself apart. Not from external weapons, but from within. Navigation systems fired maneuvering thrusters at random. Life support cycled between extremes. Weapons ports opened and closed spastically. "We're receiving a transmission," his communications officer gasped. "Audio only. It's coming from Earth." A human voice filled the bridge, speaking in flawless Valdrine. "Commander Jairak of the Valdrine Empire. My name is Colonel James Mitchell, United Earth Defense Force. Your fleet is currently infected with a self-replicating quantum virus of human design. In approximately 8 minutes, it will reach critical cascade, and every reactor in your fleet will simultaneously breach containment. You have 2 options: surrender immediately or die." Jairak's mandibles trembled. "You're bluffing. Our quantum cores are shielded. Your quantum cores use crystalline matrices grown in zero-gravity foundries above Valdry Prime. They operate on principles you discovered 8,000 years ago and never improved, because you never needed to. We've spent 70 years studying them. We know them better than you do." At 14:19 hours, the first Valdrine destroyer exploded. Then another. And another. Withdraw, Sherlock screamed. Full retreat. Hyperspace drives are offline, Commander, his helmsman reported, his voice breaking. We're trapped. Colonel Mitchell's voice continued, calm and inexorable. You wanted to extinguish humanity before sunset, Commander. It's currently 1420 hours in Geneva. Sunset is at 1847. You have 7 minutes to surrender, or we'll watch your entire fleet burn before dinner. At 1423 hours, Commander Jayrock transmitted the Valdrine Empire's first surrender in 8,000 years. At 1427 hours, the virus jumped from the fleet to the quantum communication relay they'd been using, spreading instantaneously across the Empire's Ansible network. Within an hour, every Valdrine military installation in the galaxy went dark. Within a day, their economy collapsed. Within a week, subject species across 100 worlds rose in rebellion against masters who could no longer defend themselves. The Valdrine Empire, which had stood for 8 millennia, had fallen in a single human afternoon. And as the sun set over Geneva that evening, Sarah Chen stood at her window watching the sky. Somewhere out there, 10,000 disabled Valdrine ships drifted in the void, their crews learning a lesson that humanity had known for centuries. Pride comes before the fall, and the meek shall inherit not through strength of arms but through strength of mind. The age of Valdrine dominance was over. The human age had just begun.